As wonderful as Thanksgiving is, it can be extremely difficult for families going through a divorce. Here with tips on how you can work toward a conflict-free Thanksgiving is attorney and author Gabrielle Hartley. Welcome, Gabrielle.
Thank you.
Navigating these holidays can be so tricky. What do couples going through a divorce need to do to make it peaceful?
Well, the first thing is hopefully when they got their divorce, they have a separation agreement that very clearly delineates where the children are, for what time, what happens at the transitions, and then the people need to follow exactly what is written in the agreement to avoid conflicts.
Ideally, let's talk about those transition times for a minute. Should parents try and really keep them brief, or are there some do's and don'ts that people should keep in mind?
Yeah, so basically, you should be respectful of the other person's parenting time, and remember that lingering can cause more emotional trauma for your child. So have a clear time, tell your child, okay, we're gonna go see mommy now, or we're gonna go see daddy now. And at that time, let the transition happen and move on, and make sure you have something planned for yourself to look forward to so that you're not left feeling sad and empty, especially if the transition happens in the middle of Thanksgiving and you used to do something together, maybe with an extended family that's no longer happening in your life. So fill it with a new tradition that
for yourself.
Exactly.
Like a movie and a glass of wine or something like that.
Whatever is good for you.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
What about the Thanksgiving dinner and incorporating people with some new technology that's available, like visiting a parent via Skype or Facetime? Is that something that is recommended?
So new technology makes me think about all these co-parenting applications like the Fair Co-Parenter, and there's applications that can make co-parenting easy.
Idea.
So we can talk about that another time.
Sure.
But in terms of during the other person's visit, unless it is pre-arranged, it's probably not a good idea to FaceTime or Skype in the middle of the other person's celebration. It can feel intrusive, it can feel controlling, even if it's not intended that way, and you want to keep your child's stress level low. So by all means, if your relationship is smooth and it's not going to cause upheaval for your child, go ahead and make that call. But otherwise, give them a kiss goodbye when they leave, maybe send a text or something at an appropriate time that they can check on their own, but do not insert yourself into the celebration when it's the other parent's co-parenting time.
Okay, so think you're gathered at the table with your friends and family, and the fact that you're getting a divorce is going to come up in conversation, and your child is likely going to be at the table. Should you have a conversation with your guests ahead of time to maybe minimize that talk?
So to the extent that you can do that, most certainly you should. You may be at the table and you can't necessarily control, but what you can do is try to pivot the conversation. And if you need to do it in a very direct way, feel free to turn the conversation to a whole new topic, and hopefully the guests will pick up on your subtle cue.
That's a good idea. What about substance abuse? People tend to overindulge in the holidays, and that can be tricky when there's children involved.
Yeah, and so people tend to overindulge often, and often you'll see those same people have this problem not just at the holidays. If you are divorcing someone who is inclined to overindulge or to drink or use substances, the best advice is to put a safeguard in the agreement itself, in your separation papers, that maybe, clearly there's no driving of the children if there is a substance abuse issue. The other thing that you may want to do is just have a little conversation beforehand. It may be tricky, which is why it might be advisable to use a co-parenting online application that I was alluding to before, because you can just say in a value-neutral way, hey, maybe I can do pickup today.
Oh, that sounds great. What wonderful advice. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.